Good morning, students. Let us continue the topic. Should a wizard hit mummy? The paragraph begins, but downstairs her chair is scrapped, and he realized he must get down to help Clary paint the living room woodwork. Well, he walked along very sadly and came to a very big tree, and in the tree was an enormous wise old owl. Good, Mr. Owl, Roger Skunk said. All the other little animals run away from me because I smell so bad. So you do, the owl said. Very, very bad. What can I do? Roger Skunk said, and he cried very hard. The wizard, Joe shouted and sat upright, and a little golden book spilled from the bed. Now, Joe, Daddy is telling the story. Do you want to tell Daddy the story? No, you, me. Then lie down and be sleepy. Her head relapsed onto the pillow and she said, Out of your head. Well, the owl thought and thought. At last he said, Why don't you go see the wizard? Daddy, what? Are magic spells real? This was a new phase just this last month, a reality phase. When he told her spiders eat bugs, she turned to her mother and asked, Do they really? And when Clary told her God was in the sky and all around them, she turned to her father and insisted, with a sly yet eager smile, Is he really? They are real in stories, Jack answered curtly. She had made him miss a beat in the narrative. The owl said, Go through the dark woods, under the apple trees, into the swamp over the creek. What is a creek? A little river. Over the creek, and there will be the wizard's house, and that's the way Roger Skunk went, and pretty soon he came to a little white house, and he rapped on the door. Rapped means he knocked. Dear students, let us have some of the meanings over here. Scrapped means drag or pull a hard or sharp implement. Enormous means very large in size. Eager means keenly expectant or interested. Narrative means a story. Swamp, an area of low-lying, uncultivated ground where water collects, a bog or marsh. Creek means a small river. Rapped, strike a hard surface with a series of rapid, audible blows, especially in order to attract attention. Relapsed means return to a less active or a worse state. Curtly means here rudely brief in speech or abrupt in manner. Now let us have the explanation of the above passages. Suddenly Jack heard a voice downstairs of a chair being pulled and realized that he must go down to help his wife paint the living room, but had to continue with the story as Joe had not slept yet. So Jack continued that Roger Skunk was sad, and as he walked, he came across a tree where he saw the wise owl. The skunk then shared his problem with the wise owl, and the owl started thinking of how he could help the little skunk. Then Joe shouted enthusiastically that the wise owl would ask him to go to the wizard, as she had known about the basic plot of the stories. Her dad used to tell her. Jack got a bit irritated and scolded her and asked her if she wanted to tell the story by herself. Joe denied, and Jack asked her to lie down peacefully and continue listening to the story. Joe told Jack to tell the story out of his head. Then Jack continued with the story that the owl told Roger to go see the wizard for his problem. Then Joe interrupted him and asked if the magic spells that the wizard used were real. When Joe asked this question, Jack realized that Joe was coming into the reality phase and had started asking questions about the things her parents used to tell her. He noticed that she no longer believed her parents blindly and was curious about everything that was told to her. Repeated her question, to which Jack replied that the spills were real stories. He continued with his story that the skunk went through the way the wise owl had asked him to go and reached a white house and knocked on the door. Jack rapped on the windowsill, and under the covers, Joe's tall figure clenched in an infinite thrill. And then a tiny little old man came out with a long white beard and a pointed blue hat and said, "Hey, what is? What you want? You smell awful." The wizard's voice was one of Jack's own favorite effects. He did it by scrunching up his face and somehow winning through his eyes, which felt for the interval rhymy. He felt being an old man suited him, I know it. Roger Skunk said, and all the little animals ran away from me. The enormous wise owl said, "You could help me." Eh, well, maybe. Come on in. Don't get too close. Now inside, Joe. There were all these magic things, all jumbled together in a big dusty heap, because the wizard did not have any cleaning lady. Why? Because he was a wizard and a very old man. Will he die? No, wizards don't die. Well, he rummaged around and found an old stick called a magic wand and asked Roger Skunk what he wanted to smell like. Roger thought and thought and thought and said, "Roses." "Yes, good," Joe said smugly. Jack fixed her with a trance like gaze and chanted in the wizard's elderly, irritable voice, "Abracadabra, hocus poo, Roger Skunk, how do you do? Roses, boses, pull an ear, Roger Skunk, you never fear, bingo." So this was the mantra which was recited. Still a shelf or slab of stone, wood or metal at the foot of a window opening or door away. Clenched means here closed into a tight ball. These are the meanings over here. Infantile, childish. Scrunching, making a loud crunching noise. Winning, the making of a long high pitched cry or sound. Remy means watery. Jumbled means mix up in a confused or untidy way. Heap, objects placed haphazardly on top of each other. Rummaged, search unsystematically and untidily through something, smugly in a way that shows excessive satisfaction or pride in oneself. Trance, a half conscious state. Gaze, look steadily and intently. Chanted, say or shout repeatedly in a sing song tone. Now let us have the explanation of the above passages. To make the sound effect of how the skunk knocked the door, Jack knocked on the windowsill and Joe was thrilled. Jack continued that the old man with a long white beard and a blue pointed hat came out. Then Jack made his favorite sound effect and continued that the wizard asked Roger what he wanted and that he had a very bad body odor. Then to this Roger replied that he knew that he smelled bad and told him that all the other animals ran away from him. He also told the wizard that the wise owl had told him that he could help him. Then the old man replied that maybe he could and asked Roger Skunk to follow him inside and not to get too close. Then Jack describes how the house of the wizard was really dirty from inside because he did not have a cleaning lady, to which Joe asked that why was it so. Then he replied that because he was a very old man and also a wizard, he did not require any cleaning lady. Then Joe again interrupted and asked that would the wizard die, to which again Jack replied that wizards never die. Then the wizard started looking out for something and took out an old stick called the magic wand. He asked Roger what he wanted to smell like, and he replied that he wished to smell like roses. Joe was happy about the fact that he wanted to smell like a rose. Then Jack said the magical words in the voice of wizard. He paused as a rapt expression widened out from his daughter's nostril, forcing her eyebrows up and her lower lip down in a wide, noiseless grin. So, students, it will be continued in the next lecture. So, thank you.